So, I thought today I would give you a comparison between, well, not my new phone, but a phone that I bought, which is the Doogee S98 Pro, bought mostly because it's got built-in thermal imaging, and this phone versus my other thermal imager, which is the FLIR Pro. Now, I actually thought these were similarly priced, because when I bought this FLIR, I got it on a Prime Day sale, and it was £250 on Prime Day. Yeah, so this is now £415. So what we're doing is comparing this £415 FLIR module that just plugs into the bottom of any USB-C plugged smartphone versus the Doogee S98 flagship phone, which was a whopping £270 from AliExpress. And yeah, so basically you're getting the phone and the thermal imager. So I'm going to set them up in two tripods pointed at the gas burner shower heater thing that I painted black, and we'll just run them and see what kind of footage and what kind of still images we get from both cameras. And we'll see how £270 compares to £400. Right, let's go and heat things up. Okay, here's my attempt at a roughly semi-decent setup here. So that'll be the boiler in the background that I will fire up when to get it hot. And we've got the Doogee on the right and the FLIR on the left. Now, I've set them both to their higher temperature range, which is like over 400 degrees for the FLIR and up to 500 for the Doogee. Now, already the FLIR has the advantage here, oh, pardon me, that it can see lower temperatures even in the higher setting, whereas you can't really see it on there, but I can see it and it just says less than 80 degrees for the InfiRay? InfiRay is the actual brand of the thermal imaging device that's on the phone. Now, I'm going to just set the other camera here. I'm going to just try and set it here, because this is just going to be for calibration and audio work in the background. Third. Right, both are recording? Are they? The Doogee has no signs that it's actually doing anything, but let's fire up the shower and see what happens. Well, I'll just talk to myself in the background for a few moments while it does things. Oh, I can actually see the Doogee counter now in the background, now that it's not red anymore. Perhaps I went too small with, maybe I should have more gas. No, that's bump. That's a bump. Let's have more gas. Turn the gas up. More fire. More heat. I've noticed the Doogee's got its hot and cold spots turned on, which I probably should have turned on for the FLIR. But on the Doogee, I can see the I can see the FLIR as well. Hot gas leaving. Thankfully, it's got a lot of water to heat up before we have to worry about over-temping things. But at the moment, the Doogee appears to have a higher resolution of the actual thermoptics. Thermoptics, is that a word? I might have invented a word. I don't really have an accuracy test. I can use my thermometer gun. Let's aim it roughly where the Oh yeah, 32 degrees. It's really 32 degrees right there. It's definitely. Is it 32 degrees? It might be actually. That's not a terrible. What we need to try and do is aim. Oh, I wish they were aiming at the exact same points. That'd have been helpful. Well, we can aim the FLIR up a bit. How about that? Let me just get my arm right in the shot and put its hot spot roughly where. No, up a bit there. Over a bit. About there. That. Too much. Gone too big. I mean, that's roughly the same plot. So one says 120, one says 135. One of them is wrong. I do not know which. Well, my thermometer says 135. 135.6. Which kind of gets nearer what the InfiRay says. Okay, let's turn the shower off just now. Oh man, it was already hot. Oh, but for reference, the thermocouple inside here says 220 degrees. Right, let's turn that off just now and stop those recording. Stop. Stop. Right, let's see now if I can. There's almost no chance of me taking two cameras out at the same time, so we'll just do one camera and do a moving shot of temperature video. Because supposedly this is InfiRay is supposed to be running at. Can't get my phone out, my phone holder. It is too fat. Come out, please. So this is supposed to do 25 frames per second. So let's run the video and see if it does actually do 25. So this is pure infrared optics. This is the resolution that the infrared is at. Not a mixed image. This is how it sees it and how it sees it from the image. So I'm hoping we're getting 25 frames a second here. Is that a bit hot? That's way hot. Okay. Right, so that's all pass of that. Video saved successfully. Happy days. I'll put it back in here and try not drop it. So let's take you out and we'll do a video with you. Again, it's not supposed to be 25 frames a second. It's supposed to be just, I think this does 12 or 15 max. And this is just pure infrared view, no mixing of the overlay image. And I'm running both phones in upright or horizontal. Vertical, that's what I was looking for. Not horizontal, vertical mode. Because the Doogee doesn't do sideways. It just does straight up and down like you're holding it like a normal phone because of where the sensor is positioned. Right, hopefully that gets us some footage to compare the two together. Now I suppose we should have a photograph. Not sure a photograph's going to make much difference in the. So let's take. So the InfiRay has higher resolution for the actual thermographics, but I think the FLIR does a much better job at the blending, like when you put it in MSX mode, and it joins the visible light with the infrared, so you can still basically see the outline of the objects that you're doing, you're measuring, and the actual thermographic behind it. Whereas the mix on the InfiRay, it's almost like there's too much of the background image. brought in, and I don't think there's a way to adjust. I haven't seen a way to adjust how much mix there is. The picture-in-picture is quite nice sometimes. You've got your normal image and then your thermal in the background. The pump gave me a fright. And then it goes normal image, pure infrared. Oh, you can picture, you can change it. So you can have the big image be the thermal image and the small one be your picture-in-picture. It's not. I don't really see how useful that is. You can't change the rainbow. It's always black and white for the picture-in-picture. I say sometimes I don't particularly use the mix because the resolution is so high that generally I can see what it is I'm looking at. Right, they're nearly in the same spot. So one says 28.8, another one says 28.8. So they are basically given exactly the same readings for the same temperatures. Hotspot 37.9, hotspot 37.9, cold spot kind of wibbly wobbly, flying over the place 20, and kind of staying at 16, whatever it can see. Probably slightly different it can see down there, field of view wise, for the other thing. Right, let me take us back over to civilization. Come on, you. Well, FLIR is a big brand, a well-known brand that you're not going to get in trouble for using FLIR data in any measurements. InfiRay, it's not an unknown brand, but it's a lesser known brand than the FLIR. So given that, at £300, I would probably still buy the FLIR, even though it's a lower resolution, but perhaps a more accurate representation of thermal data. And it's the same as multimeters. Nobody gets in trouble for buying a fluke and using a fluke. Like if you're taking measurements and it says 12 volts in a fluke, you don't argue with that. The same goes with FLIR. It's a branded name and people tend to trust it more. Now, if the difference was between spending £400+ on a piece of thermal equipment, would I spend £400 on the FLIR or the 280 on this InfiRay and the whole phone, and actually being rugged is another thing. So this phone is a rugged phone. It's waterproof, dustproof. I've closed the app for some reason. And yeah, so I should be able to drop this from height. The FLIR, not so much with the old ruggedness. I mean, I think I can take a splash, but that's about it for ruggedness. I mean, they're supposed to be drop tested, but if I was to drop this phone and this FLIR, something in this is going to break. Probably the USB-C connection into my phone, and rendering my phone broken or rendering the FLIR broken. If I was to drop this, probably nothing would happen to it, and worst case scenario, it's a £270 phone that I've dropped, and it's not the end of my world. But yeah, so not quite an apples to oranges. No, it is an apples to oranges comparison. It's not quite an apples to apples comparison. It's an apples to oranges comparison. Oh, you can see the MSX. Oh no, wait, bring it towards the camera makes it worse or better. Oh yeah, the alignment. You can move the alignment about to fix that problem. But that's that. I thought I would give you, a kind of brief glimpse into a £280 phone with thermal imaging and the FLIR thermal imager that, well, what its advantages, any USB phone you can make into a thermal imager. But as for the price, at the moment, like I say, the FLIR is £400+ and this whole phone is £280 with the thermal imaging built in. Another consideration is battery life. So the FLIR, this little FLIR module, you can use it for about an hour, and it does not charge via the phone. You can't power it via this. It has to be charged via its own USB-C port in the bottom. If you would focus, there's a USB-C port in the bottom. So that about an hour's runtime. Yes, you can plug it in while it's running to use it. You're going to get a long runtime out of thermographics from this phone than you are over the FLIR. Hey, it didn't smash. So this may be a subject of a different video or something entirely different, but the build quality of these FLIRs. So I've already RMA'd this one once because after some time of being charging on and off, I don't know how easily this will show up, but in this top corner, can you see where the rubber is separating from the metal body. There's now a hole, and if you get the light just right, you can actually see the Captain tape that's wrapping the batteries inside. So it's no longer any waterproof in any way, shape or form. And this one arrived with the gap already there. The previous one, I don't think it arrived at the gap, but I noticed it after some time. It feels like it's the batteries swelling inside and starting to push the cover out. So that might be a problem if that ever gets wet. And again, well, they did offer to replace it again, but I was likely to just end up with the same thing again and again. Whereas this is, like I say, it's supposed to be IP waterproof and IP dustproof and dropproof. And it does seem to feel to be a fairly rugged phone. Still wouldn't like to drop on its front though. Supposed to be Gorilla Glass, but you never can tell until you drop it and smash it. So perhaps for ruggedness at least, it'll survive slightly better than the FLIR that's got holes in it. There we have it, £400 of thermal imaging versus £280. Given the choice, if I was doing it all over again and spending that amount of money, I don't really need super accurate high-end brand names to do what I'm doing of seeing how hot things are in the workshop and some experimentation. So I would definitely pick the phone with the cheap phone with the built-in thermographics rather than the 400 quid adapter on the bottom of your phone, because if I break that phone or lose it or smash it, I'm not going to be as heartbroken if I break the £400 FLIR module and my normal phone at the same time. Any comments, questions, etc., leave them in the comment section down below and I'll try to answer them for you. And as always, thanks for watching.